Hi, I'm Hetty Bryant, and this video is Assessment 3, Addressing Difference, a Leadership Perspective for Difference and Leadership, MGT568. Let's get started. So the value of this is 40%, which is the highest of all of the assessments. It's due right at the end of session, the 2nd of June, but my advice to you is to start thinking about it now, because all of the assessments you're doing will scaffold to this particular one. The length is 2,000 to 2,500 words. As I've said in previous videos, if I get to 3,000 words, I may stop reading, okay? So really try and be succinct in your writing. Yes, and submit as a Word document through Easts. So the task, and this is from Simon Weston's book, which is Leadership at Critical Text. Gender and ethnicity are differences that are easily identifiable when thinking about diversity. Reflect on your organisation or an organisation you know well and describe other differences that exist that create hidden discrimination or tensions that are unspoken. Provide a critical analysis of the issues, and from your engagement in this subject over the past 12 weeks, make some suggestions as to how these unspoken differences might be addressed, with a particular reference to leadership practice. Okay? Write a 2,000 to 2,500 word essay that includes the critical analysis and the actions to address issues of unspoken differences in the context of your leadership practice. So let's unpack what that looks like. So it is advised that you reflect on the first and second assessments, using them to inform your diagnosis and actions for change. So a little bit further guidance. This is an academic essay about issues of difference in your workplace that are not about gender and ethnicity. That is, the focus is on hidden or unspoken differences that will become apparent to you as you undertake this subject. So starting noticing the unconscious biases, unwritten ground rules, the in-group and out-group behaviours, the languages that is being used in meetings, water cooler conversations, etc., will really help you to actually identify what those unspoken differences are. So what do they indicate about difference that creates hidden discrimination and tensions that are unspoken? That's the guiding question. So it is an expectation of this assessment that you will relate these differences to the theories that you have learned about difference and diversity in the context of leadership. This assessment is also focused on application. That is, this is where you identify how you will address these issues in the actions that you will take in your leadership practice. Module 3 in your text has many examples of leadership actions that foster inclusive practice. Okay. The focus of this essay, so the rationale and support you can get for this, the focus of this essay is to describe and reflect on what you have learned about difference and leadership in the context of your own leadership practice and of your identity as a leader. Use theoretical and other research references in this essay to explore these issues that you are experiencing and how the literature addresses these challenges. Always include a reference list and use references using the APA Style 6. We'll talk more about that as well. Okay, so really it's focused on difference and how that's manifesting in your organisation and unspoken differences that are creating tensions and discrimination. So to support you in this assessment, please consider looking at the resources for academic writing, including essay writing, academic support and referencing. So the referencing guide is there. All of these resources are under the Student Portal Study tab, so have a really good look at that. Essay writing and academic support, consider getting the support of an ALAN, an academic literacy, learning and numeracy advisor, and they can assist. You can book an appointment with them and they can assist you with your essay writing. What I suggest you do is contact them as soon as possible and send them a sample of your writing, okay? Send them your essay. Send them the outline and they can help you to put this together. Also look at the Division of Library Services and they can assist you as well. And also there's a essay writing process PDF which can help you. But there are many resources underneath that study tab. The marking criteria and presentation. So when writing your essay on the unspoken and/or hidden issues of difference and discrimination, introduce theory to aid in your exploration of these tensions and the broader issues that they raise, because you'll start to actually notice, and some of these might be in-group and out-group behaviour. You might notice that there's in-group and out-group. What are these in-groups? What are the out-groups? And how does that relate to the theory that you've learnt about in-group and out-group behaviours? That's one example. Okay? There might be, in the language that is being used, there might be language that is not inclusive language, which is discriminating against certain people that work in your organisation. Okay? Look at that in regard to framing of language, the theory about framing language, the theory about using inclusive practices. The aim of this assessment is for you to integrate your learning about your leadership identity and the identity of others. So it's always in the context of the other and in the context of difference with theory on leadership and diversity. Okay, and there's lots of theory on leadership and diversity. You'll already learn that in your first assessment when you actually critique those 3 readings. Describe the theoretical frameworks or approaches that are relevant to you in addressing your difference and diversity. So there'll be a whole range of frameworks and approaches, but there'll be certain ones that align with your own context and with who you are, your identity. Okay? Some will not resonate, some will not be appropriate. Some will be very appropriate. You will need to research areas of resonant significant to your leadership challenges. So it's within your context. Demonstration of this effort is clear to the criterion marking of this assessment. You will be marked against the following criteria. So first of all, description of and reflection about what you have learned about difference and diversity in your leadership practice, evidence of research and integration of research into your essay. Appropriate level of analysis for a level 500 subject is expected, which includes clear articulation of your argument using concise, appropriate scholarly language, and references list using APA 6 style. The presentation, I want you to always provide a title page with your student name, number and subject, and then a table of contents, section headings for each task. You can be as creative as you like, but follow the tasks and have section headings. Okay? It's easier for me as the marker to read, and pop these into your table of contents as well. So I have some sense of how your essay is structured. And it's also a good practice to start off thinking about what are the section headings that I want to use for this particular essay. Put those up and then you can write to those and populate those. Okay? Always include a reference list at the end of your essay. Now the reference list means that you have referenced, you put that in that, all of the references that you have cited in your essay. Now you might use other references that you don't particularly cite, but they've been useful to you. Pop those under a bibliography. Okay? There is a difference between the two. The essay is presented in your CSU Think Space, established for Assessment 1. This is for Master of Business Leadership students only. Others may wish to have established a Think Space. And you set up a new page, Assessment 3, Addressing Difference from a Leadership Perspective. Please submit your essay as a Word document through EASTS, and if you have got a Think Space, put the link to that Think Space at the beginning of your Word document. Okay, I hope that's really clear. Now, the marking criteria, always write to the marking criteria. Be really thoughtful about this. So, The description of and reflection of what you have learned about difference and diversity in the context of your leadership practice. So, to get a high distinction, you actually really need to be able to critically reflect at a deeper level, okay? And your reflective critique is insightful, original, and sophisticated. Then that steps down to not even attempting to do the task. If you want a credit or above, you really do need to be able to show that you have engaged in some form of reflective practice. Okay? Evidence of research and integration of theory into your leadership practice. So that's where you draw from the literature and media beyond the subject readings. So to get above a credit, to get a distinction or a high distinction, you really have to read more widely and research more widely. You also have to be able to analyse critically and draw clear conclusions grounded in the theory and the literature, and you really have to have no errors in referencing, okay, or for distinction, very limited errors, and it really needs to be a comprehensive summary of the arguments, okay? So you really have to develop arguments based on the literature and the theory. And then finally, the appropriate level of analysis, clear articulation of your argument using scholarly language and correct references. So it's an exemplary structure that uses topic and linking sentences and connected paragraphs. So you're using professional language, your paragraphs are succinct with excellent ability with grammar, vocabulary and spelling. You accurately attribute. So what that means is that when you're using citations, when you cite literature, you attribute that accurately. If you quote something, you need to put page numbers in. Okay? So that's really important. And it has to be accurate and relevant referencing. For a distinction, very similarly, and then you would it's not as accurate sometimes. There might be some inaccuracies there. And then to get a credit or above, you really need to write really well, have solid professional language with some limited errors. Okay? With a pass, you've got a fairly good structure for your essay, but you've only used a general level of professional language and you do have some errors. Okay, and you do have some typos, etc. For a fail, you haven't attempted you have no apparent structure, or you have poor sentence and paragraph construction. You can avoid this by engaging in an academic literacy, learning and numeracy advisor. Okay, so head it off at the pass, book a meeting with an Alan. Feedback from assessment 1 in particular will guide you to maybe furthering your literacy in these areas by engaging the support of an Alan. Okay? Next slide. So if you have any questions, consider posting your assessments to the assessment forum first. Always really good practice. Then I respond to you and everyone else gets the benefit. Okay? Or you can email me or phone me. And quite often when you email me, I'll repurpose that to the assessment forum anyway. Don't be afraid to ask questions. There are no wrong answers. There are no dumb questions. It's really important that if you don't understand something that you do ask me questions, and that way you can get support. So I wish you well with assessment 3. Start getting started now to start thinking about how you actually develop assessment 3. Good luck. Cheers.